Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. Just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, after a week off, we have set the field down to 10 drivers that are going to race for a championship in Sim500's NC811.org Cup Series season. And it all starts here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight. 5 races to crown a champion in 2023 as we get you ready from the Queen City virtually on iRacing. I am the captain. And of course, Kevin England Empire joins us from his humble abode as we get ready to go racing here from the Queen City. As mentioned, Charlotte Motor Speedway, a track that I think we could argue, Kev, that if there's a track people know the most when it comes to iRacing that's not named Daytona or Talladega, this might be the one. And that could be a good thing, but it could be a bad thing tonight. But the most important thing is kicking off this second round of 5 races with a win or a good finish and to get that momentum going.
Hello. Not if you can hear me. You got me going, man. I'm a little stuck on Pink Floyd here. Welcome everybody into the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'll tell you, it's one of those races that you do not let your guard down. As comfortable as a pair of shoes, this racetrack will humble you rather quickly. You need to be really on your mark because the difference between first and 15th is a scant 10th, if you want to look at it that way. And you got to be up on the wheel all night long here. I love that it's a night race. I love that these drivers are excited to go into the final round here as 10 drivers. One of them, Joe Gitina, deserves a nod, doesn't he, Chris?
Absolutely. Joey, hey, Joey is in.
Humble as he is.
Joe Hudson, yeah, no kidding, right? Hey, they got their way in there. Of course, we've talked about the big boys that have made the final 10 drivers, but Joey Gitina wanted to make known, look, hey, me and Joe Hudson are in there too. And of course, I responded with, well, Joe's fast. What's your excuse?
You're right.
That's my humor to Joey there. So, but hey, you know what? In the end, yes, they did earn their way in. And tonight at Charlotte, they could, with a couple things happening, pit road incidents or something like that, they could find themselves in a good spot to potentially jump up there and race for a championship here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to look to Mike Kelly tonight.
Okay.
I think this is his type of racetrack. I think he's going to show the aggression he needs in the final 10. He is going to serve notice to these guys that he's coming to play for a championship this year.
Nothing wrong with that. Is Robert Friery the third right now? The pole sitter with a 30.43, and that's his the first lap. Jose just throws a 13 up there. Let's see, can anybody go 29s here on the second lap? I think that's possible, as this track is pretty fast here tonight. But I do want to mention one thing that you kind of hit the lid on there, Kev, and that is not getting comfortable and not getting too complacent to where you make a mistake out there on the track. Thursday night, Tyler Hudson brought it up, or not Tyler Hudson, Tyler Dalton. Tyler Dalton brought up in his race Thursday night over in the GOAT Series how he was pretty much on his way to going to victory lane, and there's a bump over in 3 and 4 that's causing the car to almost bottom out a little bit. And he let his guard down and spun the car out and ended up not going to victory lane in that race. So, obviously easier said than done, but to get out here on this track that, again, I mean, it's one of 2 tracks that one of 4 tracks technically, well, when I first got on iRacing in 2012, it was one of 4 tracks you got to race at to start with, and then now you got the dirt and all that stuff. So there's like 8 tracks you could probably race on to start with. But this one USA Speedway, Lime Rock, and Okayama were the 4 tracks you had on iRacing automatically that you could go run the street stocks at or whatever. So from the time we have started on this sim to now, this is probably the most raced track outside of Talladega and Daytona we race on.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about this track, the home of NASCAR, and obviously it's a no-brainer when you're running NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
This is the track you're going to fire in. You've watched it so much, you know where the breaking points are. You see that exit out of turn number 4, which Glenn Campbell missed, slowed down through the grass, hit the inside pit wall. But these guys, it's a home game. Even for the sim community.
Joey up the third. Look out, Kev. Sorry to interrupt. And Rivera to second. Joey Jatina 3019. And you know what? If he actually would have came off turn 4 with a little more closer to the wall there, he might have gotten that 13. But continue as you were. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joey was funny because he was talking about he's got the short run speed, but he didn't practice a long run. Well, we'll see how that pays off, because this is a race where you really want that in the bag. How about that lap time so far for Gonzalez, holding up as Doy Woods sliding sideways off turn 4, trying to get a little more juice. Didn't make it. That Texaco Haviland star number 28 backwards in the grass over there.
Jose got a little super mile and a half speed going to him lately. I think he's been getting a lot of poles on these bigger tracks. But look at Joey here. I got it on replay. Look how much room Joey left off turn 4. I mean, hello, guy. You let that car slide off just a little bit more. He might have had a 13 out of that.
You get out of 4 and the car's down low and it takes a set. You just carved the corner like turkey on Thanksgiving. Carve it, baby.
All right, we're still 3 weeks from Thanksgiving. Calm that one down. I got to save money for a bird, okay? What is it? 6 pounds? What's that?
We have ShopRite points. You buy enough food, they give you a turkey every year. Come on now.
My company I used to work, the company I still work for used to give away turkey to all their employees. I'll let you know where that went. Anyways.
I want to say that it's full moon Monday night.
Oh. Not only
Halloween
that.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And so the spooks and the ghosts and the goblins are out tonight. I have a feeling we're going to see some shake up here tonight. As they're in warm-up, it is going to be Jose Gonzalez with a 30.131. That time stood the test of time, with Nelson Rivera and Pedro Mojica starting 1, 2, 3 here tonight as the drivers are out. Putting a little heat in the engine before we fire off the green.
Should mention that the pole award tonight to Jose Gonzalez in qualifying presented by 811. Know it's below. Call before you dig. So congratulations to Jose Speedy Gonzalez. Definitely showing the speed tonight in the Queen City, getting the pole for the race here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So let's take a look at the point standings. Well, you're going to notice it's the 1 week where everybody is tied as they enter the race here this evening. Here are the 10 drivers. I have them all labeled in the timing and scoring. So you will see each one of these drivers with the letter P next to their name, so they're in the playoffs. But these 10 drivers right here will race for the championship for the next 5 weeks. Whoever scores the most points is your champion. So we'll see what happens here. So it all starts here at Charlotte as the cars grid. And Jose Gonzalez in that Miami Dolphins number 26 car wins the pole in the 811 Cup Series here. Congratulations to him. Getting flustered mid-sentence. It happens. 30.131 seconds. He outruns Nelson Rivera, who will start there on the outside of the front row. The best of the playoff drivers. Pedro Mojica inside of row number 2 with Joey Jatina. Could it happen tonight? Joey going to victory lane at Charlotte. I could see it happening. Tommy Ryan, Chad Coleman, who's in a Ward Button car. He'll start there in the 6th position. Brian Macklin, Josh Parker, row 4, row 5, Seth Foudy, Bobby Wetzel.
And Mike Kelly's going to start 11th. 12th will be Wesley Donaldson. Just trying to share the link out to our peeps.
Nice.
Come on, come watch us here. Jeffrey Ryan
Could you tell we
will
had a week
start
off?
13th. Mike Montesi, 14th, and the number 6, Robert Friery, had a good first lap, but tagged the wall and ended up back there at 15th starting spot. 16th tonight for Tyler Dalton. He must have missed the mark. 17th for Glenn Campbell. David Comstock, keep an eye on him tonight. 18th starting spot. 19th for Joe Hudson, and it'll be Doy Woods starting 20th.
21st, Charles Van Schaik. 22nd, Stoney Benfield, and his great people are here tonight watching. Doug Sigmund, Brian Wortman, the 23rd and 24th starters. Gerald Livingston will start 25th on the race. That will be 200 miles, 134 laps around the original mile and a half. That is the Charlotte Motor Speedway before the cookie cutters arrived. Atlanta, Texas, Chicago. Well, I say Atlanta, the old Atlanta. Chicago, Kentucky, Kansas,
Chicago.
Texas. There was this track, the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the original double dog leg front straightaway. It's the Queen City, the home of NASCAR, and the home of the start of round 2. Who is the champion? We find out in 5 races, but first, we got to win at Charlotte. Here we go. Cameras.
Up through the gears. Holy cow, look at him go. Looks like a fast-paced lap side by side through turn 1 and 2. Roar into the back straightaway. Right now, nobody with any advantage has switched lanes there. Well, I don't know. Everybody's kind of pretty docile here. I saw Chad Coleman carved down to the bottom. I don't know. Do you want the top? Do you want the bottom? It's hard to say this early on.
Oh, Joey, a little D-Di-Do there. I want the bottom. Cars are tight on this first lap, but our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. They're online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. Been hearing a lot of the cars getting tight and even a little loose as the track gets up the temp here, especially with the tires. So I think you just got to be kind of cautious here, but don't tell Jose that. He kind of shoved Nelson up the track a little bit going into 3 and 4 that lap 1.
I think that's elbows up to have clean air. You really want to be out front. You got to be careful coming off turn 4 that you don't catch that wall with the right rear. And also, a lot of drivers misjudge turn 1, swinging up in order to drive down the banking into turn number 1. But when you're in clean air like Jose Gonzalez, it's easy sailing out there with all the air on the front end. The car really drives.
And this track is very aero dependent with this car, especially here in turn 3 and 4, which is a lot tighter of a radius than turn 1 and 2 is. But Josh Parker, he said that once we got back into the second round, he would qualify again. There he is, 5th position inside of Macklin. Tommy Ryan, Bobby Wetzel right there with him.
Wetzel fast at this type of racetrack. He could be a spoiler here tonight. We know we're going to talk about the top 10, but we've got to talk about those other drivers that are there and want to have their say in it. One of them, Mike Montesi in the Trans-Service number 6. Again, smooth, fast on the long run, and he can get the job done. So let's not count out any of these guys that are here to get the win.
Oh, absolutely. And Montesi actually during practice was a little baffled, if you will. I'll kind of break it up into a cleaner version, but basically said, is he not driving hard enough? Because he was asking, he had tire temps in like the low 200s, as everybody's out there with like 220, 230, 240. and then I heard his rack and pinion setting, and I'm like, that's your problem right there, my man. So we'll see if that helps him out. But yeah, we're still getting faster and faster each lap here. As you see, the car is still holding on to the draft, first through, I think I saw that purple car back there. That's Charles Van Schaik. So 20th position, all within the draft right here of each other.
I think mission for you right now in this first stint before you either get the green flag pit stops. Oof.
Montesi shuts that door off.
Yes. We saw the same thing looking out here over the glass of our booth. Can we say we're virtually looking out the window here? I think these drivers are assessing how hard they want to run this first stint. They certainly do not want to drop positions, but they know that this may potentially run long green flag stints, and they don't want to burn the tires off. They need to really be careful.
Of course, this race back in May was a 240-mile race. It was a race that obviously we, what's the word I'm looking for? We were bringing awareness out to Stoney Benfield and his grandson. Obviously, that's continuing to to battle his health issues and stuff. And now tonight, just a 200-mile race. But my point to this whole thing is we only had 2 cautions in that race. So chances are we're going to get green flag pit stops. We're going to get good green flag racing like we're already starting to see here. And needless to say, we do have a little bit of a smaller field. So I think that opens the door. All the elements are there for this race to go clean.
Yeah, right now you're just really concentrating on good laps, looking out the front windshield. You come off the corner and you look up high into that mirror to see where the driver is behind you. You have to have absolute situational awareness while you're trying to maximize your grip and carry speed through the corner.
We arrive at Tyler Dalton. You see him shift down to 4th gear off turn 4 here, trying to carry that momentum against Chad Coleman. Up to 5th gear down the front straightaway. That's going to be the million-dollar question as you get longer into this run. Do you shift? Do you not shift? You see him shifting even in turn 1 and 2, running that middle groove. Coleman has been the guy that fallen back as I kind of made a don't look in your mirror, Tyler. As I was starting to come on the air and I about played the music and I looked down and I saw the paint scheme that Chad was in, and me being the butthole that I am, I went down to Chad's channel real quick. This is when you went and got a drink, and I said, "Hey Chad, just because you're running a Ward Burton scheme don't mean you go as fast as Ward Burton does." And of course he said to me that he was just practicing, so fair enough. But Coleman started up towards the top 10, running 12th right now.
What I love is that we have a high groove.
Oh yeah,
you can run right there on the yellow line, or you could run the high groove and you could stay right with it. And you know, when you're on the bottom and somebody's to your outside, it's nerve-wracking because it kind of pinches you down. You don't let the car roll up off the corner. It is forcing you to drive a different way, and you're leaning on that right front tire. In the long run, making a pass here can abuse the car.
Well, the one thing that I did catch that drivers were doing in practice was a lot more braking that you would expect here. I'm one of those that I would trail brake more, especially in turn 3, turn 1 later in the run. But from some of the drivers I talked to, is almost some contact between Jeff Ryan and Chad Coleman. There's Ryan's going to climb the top. Jeff, where are you going?
3 wide there.
Tyler, get out of it. But Robert, you too. Jeff, get. I'm telling the drivers. I'm spotting for all the drivers
there for Ferrari because he knew that was a 3 wide.
I had the
Tyler on the radio talking to his team about that.
I had the Winston 95 in my head with Waltrip and Earnhardt. But going back to what we were saying, though, it's like you get this multi-groove track that obviously you can get out here and run laps on. You're wearing the tires out, but I've been hearing a lot of cars braking into the corners and trying to plant that nose, and I think by doing that, it's helping preserve the right front more than it's burn it.
Yeah, certainly we know that drivers could play around with the brake bias, and as they adjust the brakes, they can make it so that when they step on the brake, the car will yaw to the left a little bit on entry of the corner and help it turn while slowing it down. So drivers take advantage of that dynamic, and they are using a little bit of brake, dragging it. Once the car takes a set about middle, they can ease back in the throttle. You want to really squeeze gently on the corner exit so you don't overrun the car and shove the nose, and it's a ballet at 200 miles an hour.
You see Mojica's gotten up to the back of Jose Gonzalez there, riding about 2/10 back, but this battle here just will not go. Friary and Dalton, and then you got the 15 of Seth Foudy inside of Friary, and you got David Comstock, Mr. just kind of hanging out there in the 13 car as he's just kind of letting this race come about.
Yeah, just watching that battle there, these guys are scrapping for position, and Tyler trying to find his way through, but every time he gets to the 3, he finds it blocking his path. Jeff Ryan doing what he's supposed to do. Wherever the racetrack takes him, up high, down low, scraping the wall. But for Tyler, he's looking for predictability. If he's going to go in and go underneath him, he wants to know that he's going to stay up there and give him the lane, but Jeff Ryan is going wherever his car needs to go here.
Jeff gets down there in that door of Tyler trying to protect that bottom lane. That's what makes his middle at Charlotte very tricky. You can hold a car down in turn 1 and 2, and even in 3 and 4. 3 and 4 more than 1 and 2. If you can put your car right there in the center lane, you can keep a car from completing a pass because you need to use the whole entire track. As Bobby Wetzel and Brian Macklin up there, looks like Wetzel taking the 5th position. But look right here where Jeff is.
No man's land in that last run.
Look at Tyler slide up. Ryan holding them down. That's what I'm talking about. Tyler can't complete the pass.
Yeah. I wonder if he could use a little side draft there to drag him back, but Jeff able to run this high line right up to the fence, and that gives him such drive off of turn number 2. But Tyler got a good exit out of 2, and he's going to nose ahead. Jeff Ryan still there to his number, now pulling even as they enter, and wow, these two are side by side as behind them. Montesi and Friery brush.
The only thing you can do, it's kind of a dirty tactic, but it's racing, is you can go late entry into 3, but just be aware that the guy on the outside is going to turn into your door, and it's going to shove him up the track.
Well, let's see how this shakes out. Up front, everybody's kind of settled in single file, but this battle between Dalton and Ryan will not go away, as here comes Comstock to the outside of Montesi with Friery able to get around the 6. Boy, Tyler is right on edge. The car loose up out of the corner. He had to wiggle it down to the white line there, going across the start-finish line, and that's bringing everybody behind them right into the battle.
Yeah, basically Tyler's getting loose because he's putting so much wheel in the car. Mid-corner, that's what's happening in that situation there. Like right here, turn 2, he's not having much of an issue. It's 3 and 4, again, tighter radius that is causing this 19 here. Oh, now they're going to try to switch here. Ryan's going to go to the bottom. Tyler's going to try to get that run middle. But here, if Jeff slides up, it really can make it interesting.
And looking out the windshield, they see everybody else driving away and know that if they just continue to persist that way, 1, they're going to wear their stuff out, and everybody behind them is going to come in, and 2, they'll never be able to maintain enough draft, enough suck on the car in front of them to be able to drive back up and be competitive. But Tyler switching roles, going to the high side, and now he's going to execute the pass finally and see if he can bring some of his friends along with him.
As Jeff pushed up almost into Comstock, then he almost slid down to Friery. He's kind of in a bad spot here. Good save on his part. Could have been a lot worse than Wesley Donaldson gave him a break, but Gonzalez up front, you're not missing anything. He still held off the 58 here so far. Early in this race is a little too high there, Jeff.
He's doing really well on that line now. They're going to go 3 wide as the 15 gets a little loose.
I'm almost spotting for the guy at times. I'm spotting for everybody.
Feels like.
Car low, car high. Oh, man.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Jeff is going to have he's going to need to know what's below as he's trying to dig, because right now he's going to be under attack. Have to think his tires are a little angry as he scuffs the right rear against the wall on the exit of 2, and that brings Mike Montesi into it, and Charles Van Schaik now under attack on that number 3.
4th place battle here is Joey Jettina going to lose 2 spots. Macklin goes by. Here comes Tommy Ryan, and he's going to go by. And now Chad Coleman has worked his way back up to 7, so he must have got a handle on that car in the long run. But Joey's still holding strong up there.
Yeah, Ryan in the 99 is another one that you got to keep an eye on, because this long, smooth, technical race is right up the 99's alley. He could win this race here tonight. And I'm just curious, where did the 2 end up? He's currently running in 8th. How quickly do these laps tick off? We're working lap 26 already, as these guys are just full throttle through this race.
Yeah, they fly by, especially as you go green flag here, and racing at Charlotte can be so much fun, especially, the old 600 miler race that, you get the run in May on iRacing and stuff. I know I ran it back, I ran it twice back in May, but, it can be fun, but then if you're in Joey's hands, it cannot be fun now, as you start to see these cars that maybe have saved some tires are kind of working their way up. As Coleman goes by, here comes Mike Kelly, who you talked about earlier. That 2 car could be a sleeper to watch in this playoff.
And there's battles all the way through the pack here. I see the 96 of Gerald Livingston racing with Stoney Benfield out there for the 22nd position. And let me tell you, You cannot underestimate how hard these guys out in the back work, just as hard as anybody out front to claw for these positions, even if it's back deep in the 20s. Characteristic of this racetrack, Chris, is that it has quite a bit of grip. You're not really slipping and sliding, so to speak, because you drive the car down, you take the set, you're easing on the throttle. Maybe up off the corner, the car feels light, especially as you go out of 4 when the car floats up to the wall before it hooks and turns left. But a lot of drivers will tell you that of all the track that you carry speed and you have the thing matted, this is one of those tracks where the throttle is past the halfway point to the 3/4 point and flat on the floor for a majority of the lap.
30 laps complete here out of 134, just shy of the 50-mile mark in this race, 200-mile race. And this is, I mean, the front has kind of been tight. I mean, you see Jose's about a 10th up on Pedro. Then they kind of spread out. Then you get down here to about 11th or so. And then there's everybody else. This gaggle of mess that you're talking about. Bobby Wetzel, remember, he was up to 4th at one point in this race, 4th or 5th. He's now back here at 13th, falling back. So you're definitely getting your comers and goers right now in this race.
Yeah, Bobby's one of those hard chargers that on a short stint would carry a lot of speed, but tends to run just flat out all the way through. And if you get a long run, I don't know whether he's conserving that car. He's also a master of saving fuel.
Good point. He might be doing that right now. Might be in fuel save. And, yeah, we'll see as that goes on in this race. See Friary right there with him in the 77. You see the 23 of Van Schaik. As we complete lap 32 next time by. And shout out to the viewers watching here tonight. I saw us get up to about 18 or 19 as Mojica goes to the lead, or at least going to battle outside lane on Jose. Mojica carried that momentum off turn 2. He should complete the pass right here. Will he dive it in there? And he will, and takes the lead officially. Lap 32, move Mojica to the front. It's been the closest anyone has been to Pedro in the points since the first race of the season is tonight because, well, everybody was tied at the 4,000 number. I was starting to say, though, big shout out to all the viewers watching here tonight. And, John, I did see your message down there at the bottom end, and just want to say thoughts and prayers to you and your family with that situation Thursday. I know John, obviously, you've heard him here with us, and obviously he's raced with us, Mustin. Unfortunately, looks like lost his daughter, so unfortunate situation there. And again, definitely thoughts and prayers to you and the family there, and definitely a tough spot there. As see Kip Cook, Ruth Gardner, Barbara, all of Stoney's people here watching tonight, so appreciate those guys. The faster pastor running back in 21st right now.
I was curious as to whether Pedro would be able to pull away and gap Jose ever so slightly. He's just pulling a car length here, car length there. And while he's out front, I think it's going to benefit Jose because he's been burning fuel. And right now he could be in the slipstream. But if I'm Jose, I don't know that I want to be tucked up on his bumper. If I'm there, I'm not getting the air on the nose and turning in the corner. So if he drops back just a touch, I think the draft is enough that at any given time, if he really wanted to challenge, he could drive up through. And I'm not sure if it means that Pedro is that much faster and it's time for him to go, or Jose slipped back and wants to ride behind him for a little while in order to equalize the fuel run.
Bobby Wetzel's on pit road. Lap 36. That Dodge Charger number 9, the Evernham colors, comes in. And let's see if it's just traditional 4 tires and fuel here. Kind of early. You can go easily close to 60 laps on a tank of fuel. And it's going to be 4 in fuel here, so he's obviously going to do tires, a tire strategy here potentially. But, yeah, going back to your point here, Pedro, remember, for a little bit, And never mind, let's go back here. Battle for fourth as Tommy Ryan underneath of Parker. So Parker going to fall back a little bit as Ryan and Chad Button go by.
That's pretty good, Chad Button.
Chad Button. And as I was starting to say again, you remember Pedro was riding behind Jose for a little bit. So you wonder how much maybe Pedro had hurt his tires riding behind the leader. And now with Pedro ahead, obviously they flipped positions, one. But two, you got to wonder now, when does the balance switch over to where Pedro becomes the advantage on tires?
All good questions.
They're legit. I mean,
I'd have to watch the race and see how it plays out, because these guys know how the car feels and how the strategy works. And it's really kind of interesting to see how they each play it. Every driver attacks this track differently. I don't know about you. Some drivers float the car down into the corner, and some of them drive it all the way to the center of the corner. And how you attack the entry of the corner usually results in the opposite on exit, and it changes the tire wear.
This track, out of all the tracks we race on, is the one I know the most. It's the one I've had, to a point, the most success on, is Charlotte. That's why I always run the 600 and stuff, because I just love running this race. You see Joey going backwards here. The one thing I always did in this race is, one, I maximize the steering ratio. I went all the way up to 16-1, which of course now you got the rack and pinion, and I don't remember exactly what I ran in May. But the one thing I did was I paced myself. I did not go out there and try to run the fastest laps until I absolutely needed to. So that come lap 6 or 7 or 8, yeah, I might have lost 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. But I was starting to work my way back at that point. And by doing that, it was simply paint that blue line. I literally Bob Ross that line all the way around the corner. And I would trail brake down into the corner using that white line that you just seen right down where Mike Kelly is, and literally paint it all the way around the corner and almost drive it straight off of 4 right here so that you weren't dragging the right front tire.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I do. And some reason I always had the best success here when it came to the trail braking and apexing it down to turn 1 or turn 3. I always did better here than any other track of getting it down on the line. Why?
There's a little bit too much. Whoa. Wow, did he push that in?
Brian left a half-inch. Tommy about took it.
Maybe you know this phenomenon where you go in a little late and then you're able to apex a corner and you can hug that white line all the way on exit, but you need to be really careful, because when that line ends at the entry to pit, there's a little bit of a bump or a change in the track transition, and the car can step out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe back in the heyday, it used to be called the Humpy Bump.
Yeah. And it's difficult there down on the bottom when you're coming off, because the car will all of a sudden squirt loose and you'll have to chase it when the fence on the outside is curving in at you.
Speaking of fence, there's an interesting stat about Charlotte Motor Speedway that people might not recognize. Of course, you got all the safety things about this track, you know, the safer barrier, all these different things. There is a part of Charlotte Motor Speedway, you see it to the right there, from the back straightaway to about the end of the billboards, there is no catch fence. It's always been like that. And I think it's because of the advertising on the signs. But watch here. We'll stay on board with Tommy here around the track as we got Tyler Dalton and others coming to pit road here. I'll go to that here in a second. Josh Parker on pit road, Tyler Dalton. But watch down the back straightaway here. You're going to see the fence, and you're going to see the fence go away for a second. So he drives behind Macklin. There's the fence, and there goes the fence. Pole, fence.
Very interesting. At the entry of a corner, you wouldn't think they would want that, because the car gets up in there.
It's the only track that I know of that still has it like that. Everywhere else, there's catch fences. As Parker leaves pit road, so does Tyler Dalton.
Awesome shot there to watch that car come off.
Yeah, by the way, is this the part of the race where I bring up the storm drain over in turn 1?
Yeah. And the exit of turn 2.
Right here. Yeah, don't get on the track there. Do not stay down there. Pedro Mojica to pit road. Here comes the leader in lap 47. So this is a little bit shorter than I expected. Usually you can do on 100% fuel about 60 laps, so tire wear must be something. So if I'm a lot of these drivers, like, okay, good one here. Joey Jatina. Yeah, he's on pit road, so he wasn't going to listen to me anyways. I was going to say, run the fuel out. You do something different, you might catch a break.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like EF Hutton. If I see that 58 going to pit road, I'm following him.
Which, yeah, but by doing that, you're pretty much saying already, I'm going to finish behind you, and I'm okay with that. As far as I know, we never raced to finish second.
There's another adage here is that we don't know how hard these drivers rode in that first step.
Very true.
Right? And so if they rode super hard and they want to get in and get these tires off that they made angry, and now they can bless the tire gods by being a little gentler in the second run, you are going to see these drivers pit a little earlier and get some fresh Goodyear tires.
So far, we've had about 9 cars come to pit road here. Seth Foudy is on pit road now in the 15 car. So we got, caution, Seth Foudy.
Oh.
Turn 1.
How about it? And you got all these drivers that are 1 lap down now. They shouldn't have to pit. They'll be able to take the wave around.
I think that happened right here on my screen as we saw it live there. I was actually looking over at my other monitor when the caution came out. Did Seth get bitten by the drain?
That's the question.
Do we have drain 1, Seth 0? We're about to find out. The drain is over screen right next to the green, if you will, on the wall. Oh no, he just goosed it off the corner, off pit road.
It's almost like he hit
There's
the
that
transition.
drain, by the way. There's that drain. He hit it right there going down to the wall.
Yeah.
But, well, remember, in this part of the track we saw back in May, I think it was, is very aggressive with cautions. Because we were like, there's a caution for that?
There is a bump right there, though,
Oh, yeah.
where he came across. As soon as you cross the yellow line, where you pick it up, there's a seam in the pit road, and if you go slow enough, you could watch him. The car kind of bumps up over it. It just seems like it lost slip traction. He did a great job at locking it up and not sliding back up into the racing surface.
That would not have been a good thing. If Jose and the guys who have not come to pit road are in, Pedro Mojica should get the lucky dog. He'll be back on the lead lap, and then the rest of the guys are going to have to settle for the wave around. As here we go with the race off pit road. Should be 4 tires and fuel for all. And it will be Jose winning the race. Let's see if anybody goes over the bump here so I can kind of show it. Right there, you can see the car's kind of porpoising. So, anyways, let's step away for a second. Let's hear from our sponsors, 811, as you're watching race number 1 of the Championship 5 Series. 5 races. Who wins the championship? We find out coming up in 5 weeks. But first, let's step away and hear from 811 on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
Caution number 1 out here, lap 51, as Seth Foudy got in a battle with the pit lane exit, unlike Kyle Larson, who got in a fight with the pit road entrance at Homestead. Let's see how this happened again. I want to go on board. We do have the onboard cameras. I haven't had a chance to show Seth here tonight. I wish there was a way to... You know what? He had to have just goosed it. Because he wasn't...
If you do the rear chase, you could just see ever so slightly the car porpoise through those bumps, and it coincides. Right here. There it is. And then as soon as he stepped on it coming through that, the car turned sideways.
My question, did Matt Bradley approve of this? It's on the side of his car.
Yes. Right there, you can see the little bump as he crosses into the light.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the light.
Show me the light.
And right here, you see it. There's two bumps. There's one small one and another little more extensive one right when he was coming across the line. And of course, you cross that line, your tendency is giddy up. You want to go. And you're going to step on the gas there as you're going through those bumps, and it unsettled the car for him.
So under caution, first time there as we ride with Seth, who maybe had an itch on his neck. I mean, he just scratched it. He's got the spotter back there behind him as usual. I'm sure he feels probably embarrassed a little bit. We've all been there.
This is where you suck it up, Buttercup. You don't care.
That's all you can do.
You just go, oops, and off you go. Well, you know, the worst part of something like that is if you slid out into the racetrack and caught somebody else, but okay. You put it behind you and you move along.
Well, and that, yeah, I mean, the worst thing he can do now is make the situation worse and go out there and destroy his car and end his race. I mean, obviously, he's not in the championship hunt, but, you know, everybody's here for the same reason, and that's to win a race. So, unfortunately, though, for Seth, he's going to be a lap down, I believe. No, actually.
He's going to come around. He's
back
the
around.
last. Pace car going down the backstretch, just about to enter into 3. And the story of the tape here, you and I were talking about it. You have 13 drivers who have 3 laps on their tires. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the field got caught 1 lap down. Some of them 9, 18, 6, 9, 7, 7, 8. They have tire wear and they're in the back of the pack. This is not the scenario they wanted to get themselves in.
It's the catch-22 that we've talked about. And I've always argued for the side of doing something different than the leader. Brian Macklin, Chad Coleman, Nelson Rivera, Mike Kelly, they just did that. Joe Hudson. They all just put Mojica back in 14th now with this strategy. So they've kind of taken advantage of track position here. Now, they still got plenty of laps to go, so Pedro can easily make this back up. The point to that is, obviously, they've taken advantage of Pedro pitting when he did. Now, of course, this could have easily went the other way and stayed green. So it's definitely a catch-22. But this is my example of doing something different than the guy you think is the best in the field could pay off for you.
Battle for the lead, door to door, off of turn number 4. Tommy Ryan to the outside, using every inch of the racetrack.
I thought he was heading for it.
I think Tommy led that lap, but he's getting a lot of pressure from behind as they're 2 by 2 by. Well,
they're 2. Trying to be 3 by 1.
Right behind him. 2 by 2, and then the 2 following him, trying to say, "Open up, I want in."
Then you got the 2-2 behind the 2,
and the 2-2 follows the 2.
The only thing we're missing is Craig Martin in a triple 2 car in another league, but that's a whole other story. As Ryan clears for the lead, Macklin now trying to get the outside for second.
Ryan, third leader of the night, as he picks up the lead in the number 99, looking to see if he could set sail on these drivers with 56 out of 134 in the books. And we got little tussles all the way through the field here. Some of those drivers trying to dig their way out of a hole. Here comes the 28 of Doy Woods down underneath the 44 of Glenn Campbell back there for that 7th and 8th position. Doy did not have a good qualifying run, but trying to carve his way through the field here and make himself a factor in this.
This is Doy's first race, actually, in like 3 or 4 weeks in the series, because remember, I don't think he started a single race in the first round. So it would be actually 5 races in that case, at least, as Macklin trying to clear for second. But Doy, obviously, when you're a Davey Allison fan, I think it's not, what's the word, not hard to forget the One Hot Night All-Star race of 1991. Yep. Or 92, sorry.
There goes a 58 underneath Joe Hudson in the Cheddar's Toyota. Josh Parker going to follow him through as they're battling for about that 10th position there. Pedro, worn tires or not, he is on the march here, and he's got the 81 following in his slipstream as the two of them want to be back into the top 5 here.
Saw the 28 get a little sideways there as Charles Van Schaik gets to his inside. I don't know if there was contact, but there was everything but.
I thought there was a little shoot moment going on there. Ooh, 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 ooh. Coming this way.
Nice. Nice. So, you mentioned Halloween tomorrow night. And obviously the full moon and stuff. And I got to look out the window here in a little bit because there are chances of the S word in this area where I live now. And I haven't been in a full-blown snow thingy. Oh, I said the word anyways. In a couple of years. So, I mean, last year in Georgia, it was, I think we had one day where we had, like, flakes, and that was it.
You have a shovel?
I do have a shovel, I think so. That's a good question. Do I have a shovel? Whoa. Anyways, might need to go get one. Might have to, I know there's, Tommy Ryan's in here. There's a Northern Tool on the north side of Fort Wayne, I've noticed.
There you go. I saw a trans service truck pulling out of the bay of my workplace the other day.
Yeah.
I almost, like, wanted to wave at the driver.
That's awesome.
Pedro! It wasn't Pedro driving. 19th position right now for Joey Jatina in the number 14, trying to hunt down the 75 of Stoney Benfield. Joey, he's got a little work to do right now with 15 laps on his tires compared to 12 for everybody else. He's not that far off the mark, but a little bit deeper in the field out in front of him. Couple positions is the number 19 of Tyler Dalton running in 15, trying to chase the 13 of David Comstock. So some of these drivers that were out in the back, now that things are single file, they can focus on one car at a time, pick them up and put them down. Try and drive their way back through.
Here's the frustrating part right now for this 14. When you look at Jatina, he came to pit road with Pedro and that caution come out. So not only is he in 19th trying to battle Stoney Benfield, but he's in 19th on older tires, trying to pass the 18th place car, and he knows he's got a top 5 car potentially on speed, and here now he's struggling, and knowing Joey, he's probably a little hot under the collar right now. So,
Field rolls off of turn number 4, coming across the stripe out in front of them, about a quarter track or less, is the 9 of Bobby Wetzel. And the 74 of Brian Wertman was on pit road when we went back to green, so he's one lap down. Otherwise, Doug Sigmund running in the 23rd spot, 8 seconds back from the leader. And, well, everybody's kind of sharing the same space so far until they get to the number 9.
Yeah, of course, Wetzel, not sure, didn't obviously catch, and not many employees at the track tonight for the Captain Esports Network. So, unfortunately, I don't have many sources. So, I don't know what happened to Mr. Wetzel. But, needless to say, though, he's going to need a caution here somewhere, potentially to have a chance to catch back up. So will Wertman, obviously, who is a lap down, as you mentioned. But otherwise, yeah, all these cars racing hard in the pack here. So we watched Doy and Joe Hudson, that Cheddar's, makes me want cheese curds, number 51 car.
Never been to a Cheddar's. Any good?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely sporty. I hate to say the only thing I've ever had there was cheese curds one night. Because I was looking through the menu and I'm like, I was trying not to spend much that night because, it was a family thing, and I'm one of those kind of, like, I don't live cheap, but when it comes to family and stuff, it's like, if I know they're like, oh, we're going to pay for the meal, I'm not going to go order a T-bone.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a cheese curd mode, so I bought a bunch of cheese curds. Yeah.
Joe Hudson working underneath the 28 of Doy Woods.
Ooh.
Did they make contact?
I think they missed each other. They were close.
They had a Prince moment there. Kiss.
So
Boy is running that high line.
got to think. I got to ask you a question here because we're going to Halloween time.
Shoot.
I heard this on a radio station once this year, and it was a debate, good debate too, between who the scariest Halloween character is of all time.
Freddy Krueger. Terrified me when I was a kid. Still to this day creeps me out when he drags the knives.
That's a fair assessment. So here's mine.
Shoot.
I think of a young toddler kid that had a doll that was out for him. And Well,
I mean, you're going that way.
the you had this doll, and he was a kid and would go out and do these things in movies. I mean, how can we not argue that Chucky is the scariest Halloween costume of all, or character of all time?
I have to tell you, I have never seen that movie.
I mean,
I've seen all the advertisements, and they love to play that character up, but I have never seen that movie.
I had a Chucky thing when I was younger, like a doll or something, and that thing did not stay in the room near me.
I don't know that this is a Halloween thing, but Pennywise. We all float down here. That creeped me out when I was because it's always when you're a kid that you carry. As a beekeeper, I have these fully, let me just say it, manly adults walk up to me and go, "I can't stand to be stung." I said, look, you were 5 years old when you got stung, and that's what you're thinking about now as an old person. But when it comes to being scared, you always remember. The first horror movie I went to see was Friday the 13th, and saw Jason jump out of the lake and scared me to. Yeah. So I guess
Hey,
when you're an adult, you kind of laugh at it. So
to credit to that guy, a B is contact between Van Schaik and Campbell. A B sting is very underrated. And wow, Van Schaik just took Pedro to North Wilkesboro almost.
yeah, Pedro was down there waving to the crew.
Pedro's not going to be too happy about that move.
He's covering his ground there, Van Schaik, going down low, not giving the opportunity for Pedro to get under to his quarter panel. You want to pass me, go high, is what he's basically saying.
And Pedro's going to. I'm just surprised Pedro didn't give him a little, excuse me.
I think
I'm not
he's
too happy with you.
He's coaching him now in chat, saying, "Pick a lane, because I'm coming.
Fair.
You're either going to get shoved down the backstretch or open the outside," and he did go around cleanly, so I think message delivered.
Or that might have been the message right there.
Yeah.
Little bit of a brake check mid.
Well, you know what goes. You go around the outside. On the outside. And when you go down into the corner, you don't necessarily have your full speed, right? Because you're gingerly trying to get around the guy, and then the guy behind you runs up, running his normal pace, and gets to your back bumper, but then you drive away, and everything kind of evens itself out here.
So 60 laps to go. Tommy Ryan leads Macklin by 4/10. Gonzalez third. Coleman and Kelly is your top five.
25 laps since the yellow. And how long was it when they pitted?
It
Some of those
was
short
lap number
hitters.
50 when that caution came out, so about 25 laps to go.
So they're halfway through the run if they're going to do it again.
So 75 laps in, as mentioned, they should about lap 100 or so when it's all said and done. As Macklin about 4/10 back still, Gonzalez, Coleman, Kelly, Rivera, Campbell, Mojica, Van Schaik, and Doy Woods now up to the top 10.
And we're starting to see a little bit of space for these drivers spreading out. 2-3 car lengths between every car all the way through the field, back through the top 10 to 15. And this is where a driver starts to focus on execution of lap time. See the car in front of them, do the best that they can in order to close the gap. And then when they catch them, hopefully they've signaled that they're fast enough to try and find a line around. And I find it interesting to watch the lines. Almost everybody's down on the bottom, but occasionally, and just because they can, they will run that high line. If you get in the corner and the car didn't want to stay down, you just have the option of going up and run in the middle.
As we just watched, actually, Comstock and Parker were battling. Parker went topside turn 1 and 2, now rolls the bottom, trying to get a run on Montesi here. This is the battle for the, where are we at, 12th position here. And here goes Parker up to the top again. I mean, literally rail riding. Comstock goes bottom. Actually, he's going to pass him off the corner. Parker will cross him probably here, or push him. They're in the same Discord, so I'm sure they're having fun with this in a point.
Tyler Dalton gets loose off of turn number 4. That time the car skates out, the back end steps out. I don't even know if they scraped the right rear bumper on the wall going around, just trying to hustle that car to see if he could stay in the draft. If you're Tyler Dalton, one of the strategies you have is as the 81 opens the door, you knock it down and drive right through it.
So here's the scenario. What? Good little tribe. So we're at lap 50s when everybody pitted. We're 30 laps into a run. We're 54 laps to go. So obviously 50 and 134. If I carry the math really quickly there, it's 84 laps. So 42 is the halfway point of that. 42 gets you to lap 92. So I throw it into everyone's hands. When do you pit? Do you go all the way to lap 100-ish? 105? Do you go to lap 92? Do you go at lap 84 when the pit cycle pretty much is open?
I think I want to make it so that if a caution comes out late, I have the freshest tires available to me.
Okay. And that's noting that
By the way,
everybody
if-
still has a set of tires.
And then if a late caution comes and everybody goes to pit road, I'm going to bolt on another 4.
Yep, there's Parker up there glazing a wall. Scott Simley checking in. Apparently his 50th birthday tonight. I don't know if
Happy
I'm more
birthday.
shocked that Scott is checking in on his birthday or the fact that he actually admitted he's 50.
Ooh, little wiggle out of the 30 car for Macklin out of 2. That's going to open the door for Jose. Draws alongside and is going to drive by with authority over there in turn number 4. Is he going to execute the pass?
Fly job.
He is. Hello.
Gonzalez.
P2.
Second, yeah. And then back here, Pedro going inside of Nelson for 6th. So, I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I would definitely not do option C, which was pit now. I would wait till lap 92. And at lap 92, if nobody's coming to pit road, I'm going to pit road. I'm going to do the opposite here, especially if I'm outside the playoffs. If I was one that I knew at the start of this race that it's going to take some kind of weird miracle for me to win a championship, then I would try something different. If I'm, let's use the guys who have been the winners this season, and not, obviously Mike Kelly's won a few races. Mojica obviously has been dominant. Macklin won Daytona. Let's use Comstock and Parker. Those guys, I'm most of the time going to do something with Pedro, but at the same time as Pedro. But now, see, and as I say that out loud, I've had 40 things come to my head. Comstock and Parker are in the back right now. So do they maybe do something different here? So there's so many different scenarios here.
Oop, little tap.
Yeah. Pedro clears
There goes
Kelly
the
and
30.
Right on cue, Macklin. I knew somebody would do the first one. Or the last one, whatever I said it was.
Pedro Mojica went down underneath the number 2 of Mike Kelly last time by. When he got by, Kelly had that run that we were talking about into the corner, tapped the back bumper. For somebody with a smoking hot wife, I don't know if we want to call him a lurker, but Mike is just kind of riding back there and watching these guys peel off.
To know
Pedro goes to pit road.
for the record,
Or
that is
no,
Mike Kelly's quote.
Yeah. I saw it. Did I not see Jose Gonzalez dive off and then disappear?
You did? Yeah, you did see that. He is gone.
He went to exit pit road, and as he went there, the car just went away.
Wow.
Oh, that is awful.
Tough situation there for Jose. All right, so 87 laps complete. Now it's Chad Coleman up to the second position by about 7/10.
Good run tonight for Nelson Rivera. Just hanging tough there on the back bumper of the number 2. And then what a recovery from the qualifying situation that Glenn Campbell had sitting there in 6th. A lot of these guys parlayed that first caution and the challenges for some of the drivers into good track position, and they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, Campbell up to 6th right now. Van Schaik 7th. Doy Woods up to 8th. Joe Hudson. And then there's Comstock, who's been just hanging there in the 11th position. Not been his night at all.
Matt Coleman showing a little speed right now as he's the fastest car on the track in 2nd and closing down on Tommy Ryan.
He might have been the guy that's kind of doing that strategy I talked a little bit about with the kind of hang back, let your tires come to you. Look at him paint that line. That's exactly what I was talking about right there, how he brings it off the corner. Because this car
When that car hooks up off the corner bin, it feels like a rocket.
It does. But you do got to remember, turn 4 here, the car likes to turn itself sideways, and it's those bumps that can definitely bite you. That was a great runoff, too, that time.
It's a game of inches over there off of turn 4, for sure.
Tommy paints, you see him drift up a little bit. Chad just able to get that nose down a little bit more.
He's going to go down underneath. He's carried so much speed off of 4 that he's going to draw alongside Tommy Ryan. And P1 for Chad Coleman. He's going to go out front for the first time here tonight on lap 91.
Taking that Caterpillar Charger to the front. Now, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I said there was a driver in the series that was going to come out in a paint scheme of a driver you would not expect. This was the paint scheme I was talking about. I had heard Chad talk about, I'm going to run a Ward Burton paint scheme. And I'm like, do what now? What'd you say?
This is the paint scheme he won the Daytona 500 in.
Yep, 2002. Joey Jattina on pit road.
Car.
Not only that, won the Southern 500 that year too. You ought to know who his crew chief was pretty well at that point.
Escapes me.
He's a New
Who was
Yorker.
it? Frankie Kerr?
Ah, Tommy Baldwin.
Oh, Tommy Baldwin. Okay. Because Frankie Kerr was from our region too
Right.
in New York, and he was crew chief for a lot of drivers in that time frame.
Frankie Kerr might have been with Jerry Nadeau at that time, or whoever was in the 25. Joe Nemechek probably.
Joe Nemechek, yeah.
Because I believe
Frankie
Frankie
used
Kerr
to run a modified out with us, number 54.
Reminds me, I'm surprised I did not hear about your glory days to Stafford this weekend.
Actually, I went to Eastern States at Orange County Fair Speedway.
Ah,
The 62nd running of the Eastern States 200. Matt Williamson won. Outstanding race, although very dusty.
Jose, you didn't, by the way. He said his computer froze. Nelson Rivera, Tyler Dalton, Jeff Ryan all on pit road.
Oh, that is so frustrating. Sorry, Jose.
That's a bummer.
Just feel awful for the run you were having tonight. It was going to be the real deal here is look at Pedro. Just the speed in that number 58 tonight as he drives up to the back bumper. When we talked about someone who's able to get every ounce of speed on a technical racetrack, you just paint the number 58.
Yeah. So he's caught Tommy Ryan and starting to catch Chad Coleman, but more pit stops. Mike Kelly, Doy Woods, Robert Friery on pit road. So here we are. This is that halfway point of that run. Remember I told you lap 92. So these are the guys that are pitting at the halfway. Now you got to wonder, and I think the window is very small here. Tommy Ryan coming to pit road. If you're not pitting within the next 2-3 laps, I think you're almost in a must to go as far as you can on fuel.
And races are won and lost on the entry, exit, and pit execution for these drivers, and they know it.
So Tommy Ryan enters his pit stall here. 4 tires and fuel for all these guys. They'll still have 1 set left, at least.
And there's a mission for a couple of these guys, which is to get past the leader, say Brian Macklin, right now running behind Chad Coleman. In the next lap or so, he wants to make sure, because if a driver messes up going to pit road, it could result in one of those cautions that would pin Brian Macklin in a compromised position. I think Chad Coleman will be coming to pit road this time, and Macklin should be clear.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. Here's Mojica, 4 tires and fuel. And yep, here comes Coleman. You mentioned it. That's going to hand the lead to Glenn Campbell now. In the 44.
Glenn running a 31.481, which is about 2, maybe 3/10 off some of the faster times. So I'm not sure how long he's going to want to give up that pace. And I guess, Chris, the question lies with, if you run longer, you don't have to put as much fuel in it. So these drivers know if I run 8 more laps or something like that, then instead of 10.7, I could put 9.3 in, and that's this much time. But that's all moot, as the 44 and the 91 both come to pit road.
Yep, Campbell and Donaldson come to pit road as Van Schaik now goes to the lead with Joe Hudson.
Stoney Benfield on pit road. His service is finished, and he's down and away. Saw the 38 coming back to the racetrack.
So we got 6 cars now that have not come to pit road for this run. So this is where you're going to see the differences in speed, and you got to be careful around each other and that kind of thing.
51 comes to pit road. 96 on pit road.
Yeah, there's Hudson and
Good.
Livingston. Yep.
Good stop in his box for the Cheddar 51. Down and away.
2 tires.
Yes.
9.8, 2 tire stop for the 51. Wonder where you got that idea from.
I wonder.
As
We
Montesi's
both are
in.
inside joke on that, but okay, so let's see how this plays out here.
I like what
Charles Van Schaik is the leader, and he's trying to do his best as some of these faster cars, which are still 1 lap down, trying to make their way back until he pits, are going to have him under attack here. So tenuous moments for your leader, Charles Van Schaik, who's on old tires.
Uh-oh, Livingston's got problems here as he had an off-track issue I saw in 1 and 2 as he came off pit road. Now he's arguing with those bumps down there on the apron. So he's trying to get back to pit road here.
Wonder if he sped or something on pit road and he knows he needs to do a drive-through.
Potentially. I mean, that almost was the break that got Van Schaik and Parker what they needed. Parker 2.8 back, and then Doug Sigmund is the 3rd car that has not come to pit road, and then everybody else has been on pit road for what is likely the final green flag time.
96 is changing tires down there.
Here comes Sigmund in. Let's see, I actually have the off track here from Gerald. Let's see what happened real quickly.
He changed 4 tires and then
the manhole cover got him.
Yes.
It happens once a race, I'm telling you. For those who have never seen it, I've always talked about it. You get it tonight. Let's go to a good view of it. The manhole cover. The drain, if you will. Bam. Zing, around goes the car. Always a good
No
first ride.
caution because he's through the grass and kept his car running.
Right. All right, so we got to take care of some bills real quickly here. We're going to wait on Van Schaik and Parker to pit. Let's step away for a quick second here from our sponsors as you're watching the NC811 Cup Series here on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are green, 29 laps to go still. Parker, Van Schaik, those guys have not come to pit road, and that's not the same name, by the way. That's Van Schaik and then Parker. 1 and 2. Brian Macklin pitted at lap 84. He is 3rd, and then Tyler Dalton pitted right at halfway in the run at lap 93. He is 4th, and then Pedro Mojica now in the 5th position as we have birds flying in chat. So Van Schaik is we're at lap 106, 56 laps. So he should be coming to pit road in the next 6 or 7 laps. I say that. Josh Parker last pitted at 44. So he is actually at 62 laps on a run. Hey, here comes Van Schaik now.
I'm just looking at the lap times of Brian Macklin. We saw he pitted first. You and I were chatting about this. He's running a 30.6, and everybody else is running 30.3s, but his lead is immense.
What
I have to wonder.
Macklin could be pacing himself. He might have chosen to pit there and said, you know what, I'm just going to ride now and not try to burn his stuff up.
You have to look to the 58, who's had the highest pace, highest speed. He comes off of turn number 2, and if he looks way on the entry to turn 3, it's the 30. And the question is, with the speed he's carrying, and with 27 to go, can he close that gap? I think he can.
Yeah.
By the way, the 2 in tow to the 58.
As Parker
Is
comes
the
to pit
81.
road. Yep.
Yeah.
So Macklin will have the lead by 4 seconds over Tyler Dalton. Looks like it's right at 4. And then Mojica is 5.8 or so. I'm waiting for everything to fully update itself here. And you mentioned Kelly is right on the back of Ryan, and who's right on the back of Mojica.
We've got that classic conveyor belt look. Cars in little bundles all the way physically around the racetrack. Comes the 81 off of pit road.
This is interesting because now we've actually had a race. Usually I throw these scenarios out like every week, and it really never happens. Tonight it happened. So we've got the one car that pitted in the, like all 3 of the strategies I thought of come to play. We've got the leader is on the first. We've got guys on the second, and then obviously those who have went all the way to the end of their fuel on the third. So which one comes out on top?
Well, I'm just, you have to look at, say, the 30 car, right? Just pitted? No.
The
no, the 81.
81 and the 23, 17th and 18th.
So the 81's running 17th, to your point. He's 3/4 of a track behind. Should have the fastest lap times. But is that in any way going to shape up to driving 3/4 of the way around the track in 23 laps? I know he's fast, but now if there's a caution, I think everybody's got a set of tires and they're going to go get them.
Right now, Parker just ran a 30.09 as the leaders are crossing the line. Macklin went 30.99, a 73 for Dalton, a 40 for Pedro. So they're 3/4 to a full second faster. And the problem, though, is they are all of 20 seconds back. And there's 22 laps to go. They would have to find a way to be a second faster every lap. Parker 30.07. There's the fastest lap of the race right there.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, let's just watch and see how this plays out, how much he goes. He's in the middle of the backstretch, and the leaders are in the middle of the backstretch right now. And so the personal comfort Toyota there of Brian Macklin, what a strategy he had. And the question is, will they close in? I could visibly see the gap closing. They're reeling him in.
Well, I will say this 9 is not helping him.
No, he's not.
As he just went to try to go around him in 3 and 4 and or maybe, you know what, I could be the other way around here. Maybe I caught it at the last second, thought Macklin was trying to pass him, but now he wants the 9 drive away, and it's maybe he was the other way around, just trying to go around him. Meanwhile, for second, Pedro inside of Dalton takes it.
Made it look easy. Pulled down, drove alongside, drove on by. Bum, 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 bum. Here comes the 99 to the back of the 19. Carrying a lot of speed, running in fourth. So is the 99 the spoiler? Feel like the 58 is going to catch him, meaning catch the 30 of Macklin. But Tommy Ryan, we saw recently, had enough speed at the end of the race to drive by everybody.
I was going to say, where have we seen this book before?
Yeah.
I believe it was the... I got to go back and look.
Was it Kansas?
I was thinking Kansas, too. Where it was like, where in the world did he come from?
That break last week did not do us any good.
No, I am way out of sorts right now. Like, I haven't... When last night I did a Friday night broadcast, but, yeah.
No matter how this stacks up, it's going to be a good night for Tyler Dalton here.
It was Texas.
Look at a top 5 here, and
it was definitely
kind of lap
Texas.
times.
It was the old Texas Motor Speedway.
Okay, there you go.
As Tommy goes by Tyler, and let's see if he can get to pay. I mean, we might
got around the 2 of Mike Kelly going into 5th. Chad's got a good race car tonight.
He does. Are we about to see lightning strike twice here? I mean, what's the comment here? Charlotte's got an older surface now. Not as old as Texas in the old version.
Shape of the racetrack.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, if Tommy can get close and Macklin can hold Pedro up, that's pretty much what he wants to hope for here, is Pedro wants to get this pass done quickly.
I don't think this is a matter of if. I think it's when. Because Macklin's going to fight here off 4, I think. Pedro is clear to the lead with 15 to go this time by. Tommy only 0.8 back.
Look down through this top 20 stack and say, where did Comstock come from? 7th.
Yeah.
He's carried a lot of speed to get up there into that top 10 after not showing.
He's doing David Comstock things, just slowly
Yeah.
working his way up there and getting positions.
And the question is, will he be able to get there and get to a top 5 somewhere along the line? I don't think he's got it in him tonight, but leader in the middle of 1 and 2, the 81 in the middle of 3 and 4. They're on the complete opposite side of the racetrack from each other, so this is not going to play very well for Josh Parker. If he looks at his windshield, maybe Joey Tatina, maybe Joe Hudson by the end of this, but I don't know that he's going to get up there and get any of those other positions out front of him.
Yeah, and the separation of time is only like a half a second now, so it's not
Even
really
out?
there. Yeah, it's not really.
Yeah.
It's starting to even out slowly. As Tommy has now got to Macklin. I've been watching the leaders' times. They've been close to each other. Tommy's been slightly faster, but I don't know if he's faster enough.
And I really feel like we need to recognize the run that Jose Gonzalez had.
Yeah.
He was in the mix, going to pit road or had his connection problem, and I believe he'd have been right here with Tommy Ryan as he works underneath the 30 of Macklin for that number 2 position and giving something to Pedro, because Jose had a horse tonight. He was really good.
Yeah, Jose definitely had something for these guys tonight, and obviously a tough situation that happens, unfortunately, in these races here, as Tommy just continues to have trouble getting around Brian. That's going to, like, let Pedro just drive away pretty much.
Yeah, if I'm Tommy, I'm going to go up there and show him the door.
I mean, you got to do
Excuse
something
me.
here.
I'd stick my elbow out. Can't be messing around
Oh,
here.
Brian's in the wall. That got it.
There you go.
That should
That's
allow
gonna
Coleman
open
to
the
go
door
to third.
for
Yep.
Chad, yeah.
So 1.3 seconds now. Mojica leads, coming to 10 laps to go. And one thing I do want to do real quickly, I have not really had a chance to do this other than when he was wrecking tonight, unfortunately bringing out the only caution. But hey, real quickly, shout out to Seth Foudy, who's running in the 12th position now as he upshifts to 5th there. As we ride on board. Downshifts to 4th as he goes into turn 1, but Spotter's still sleeping over there. So I wanted to give him a shout out and thank you for sending me a camera to take a peek at here tonight as he runs there in 12th. Oh yeah, quick calmness in the race. Going to try to catch Doy here.
Pretty interesting to see these guys shift their dragging the brake, and it drops their RPM enough that if you downshift, it gives you that much more torque coming up off the corner. You wouldn't think you would need it at a big racetrack like this, but they're finding advantage in it, obviously.
Ooh, dude, they hit each other there. Seth and Doyle leaning on each other down the backstretch, which we didn't even talked about the backstretch of Charlotte. I don't know if it's been fixed yet, but there is this sensation you get at this track where you almost feel like you're hovering over the back straightaway and your car does not feel like it's in the track at all. I didn't even mention that tonight.
You come off turn 2 and it makes a UFO sound. It goes woo.
Right.
It gets that little weird wobble off the corner. It always wants to yaw to the left.
And then you go down the straightaway and you feel like you're on ice skates. Man, Doy's racing him hard.
He's like Ryan Newman mode here.
Oh, he's speaking of Ryan Newman mode. Here's Dalton leaning on Macklin in the wall contact.
Oh, boom! Wow.
Sorry, Seth, gotta go. That's not a good break there. Macklin probably not gonna be happy about that.
No, he is not.
Mike
That's
Kelly
going to
takes
allow the
advantage.
two to go around. Yeah. I think Macklin's car has given up the ghost here, and he's just going to struggle to stay within the top 10. And after that hit, that could not make it any better for him. With 6 to go, he's just going to limp along and see what he can salvage out of this. But that opens the door for Comstock, who's just a second behind him, to come up and see if he could sneak into the top 5.
And he's catching him quick. Macklin's off the pace. Here comes Comstock inside with Rivera. So he must have some heavy damage to that right side.
I wonder if he broke a toe link, or he's got to have some wheel damage. It was not the initial hit, but the hit that went back.
Yeah.
That probably did him in.
And that's that turn. Turn 2 is tricky like that. Tyler got tight, Macklin got tight, and unfortunately just a squeeze in the wall. And here comes Kelly inside of Dalton now, as we come to 4 laps to go.
Pedro works underneath Stoney Benfield, going to clear him. Sees clear racetrack out in front of his windshield here as he comes off turn 2 to the backstretch.
A lot of people were asking last week, and I had no problem with it, obviously, or anything. But you know, some people were like, "Why were we off last week?" and that kind of thing. And let me be the guy that starts the trouble. They were off last week to try to see if they could break the momentum of Pedro. It didn't work.
No.
You know.
Well, you know, what's interesting is I know that in the real world, we go to Phoenix next week and wrap the season, but here we have a couple weeks left.
Right.
And so these drivers are going to get recharged and then get this run. Leaving here from Charlotte, they had to then Phoenix, Homestead, Iowa, and we finish up in December at Las Vegas.
Which is funny because we actually do go to Phoenix next week, just not to finish the season.
Not to finish the season. So we have multiple races to go here in the NC811 Cup Series to crown our champion.
As Mojica works it down the back straightaway into turn 3 and 4. And he is going to see the white flag. And 1.5 miles to go for that 58 car.
Comstock looking out his front windshield, trying to get a top 5 here. Closing quickly on Tyler, but I don't think he's got enough time on the clock in order to get there.
5 races to go starting tonight as we race for a championship. Pedro Mojica says, boys, you're going to have to take it from me. As he comes by and wins here at Charlotte, kicks off the championship 5 with a win. As Tommy Ryan's going to finish second, Chad Coleman third, Mike Kelly, Tyler Dalton. Yeah, playoff drivers, 6 of the first 8 spots.
Tyler Dalton needed that to start this run here, as his luck has been up and down like Jose Gonzalez, and he's able to parlay that into a top 5, a good run for the number 19 here tonight.
It's 8th win of the season here for Pedro. I remember back in the summertime, we were having the battle of who would end up with the most wins between Comstock and Parker and Pedro, and Pedro pretty much said, I got it from here. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Have a nice day. Well, how long did that take? One caution, and these guys were on cruise control tonight, and it was everything we said it was going to be. A technical race, a tire management race, flawless pit stop, and in the end, the guy that did it the best is on your screen. Trans Service number 58, Mass Graphics, Chevrolet of Pedro Mojica just showed him how to get the job done here tonight.
It almost didn't happen because you remember he was on pit road when that caution came out for Seth Foudy, and he had to get the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap, and go back through the field. And he slowly matriculated, there's that word again, through the field, and was able to get win number 8 here on the season from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So congratulations to him and the guys. Great comeback from Tyler Dalton. The night started towards mid-pack. David Comstock with his make something out of nothing run, finishing in the 6th position. So great race from everybody, as you mentioned. So, excuse me, two races here at Charlotte this season, 3 cautions combined. So that should tell you how good these guys are racing around this speedway. As we take a look at the finishing order from the race tonight, as mentioned, Mojica with the win. Tommy Ryan, Chad Coleman finishes 3rd. Chad's also a playoff driver. For some reason, the P's don't show up sometimes over on the standing screen. Mike Kelly, 4th. Tyler Dalton finishes 5th. David Comstock, also a playoff driver, finishes 6th. Rivera, 7th. Campbell, the 2nd driver out of the playoffs tonight, finishing 8th. Wesley Donaldson, 9th. Brian Macklin, 10th. Josh Parker, 11th. And, I'll let you read the rest.
Seth Foudy, 12th. Doy Woods, 13th. Joe Hudson, 14th. 15th tonight for Charles Van Schaik. Joey Jattina hung on to 16th. 17th for Mike Montesi. Robert Friery, the 3rd. He is going to finish 18th. Last car on the lead lap. He was followed by Stoney Benfield, Doug Sigmund, Bobby Wetzel, Brian Workman, and Jeff Ryan. 3 laps down. 2 drivers did not make it the full distance. That would be Gerald Livingston in the 96. And, of course, unfortunately for Jose Gonzalez, gremlins in the connection dropped him to a 25th place finish tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate for him in that race. Definitely led some laps and showed that he was going to be somebody to watch. But unfortunately was not his night as the, I guess we'll call them the technical gods, came into play. I don't know who to blame on that one. All right, let's let Chad, and I'm sure Coleman's going to come up here and pick on me now. As Chad finishes in the 3rd position here tonight in his brand new Caterpillar Dodge Charger. As a great run for him. Obviously, I know I went down there before the race and picked on you because you were lacking the speed. But you said, hey, man, I'm practicing. Calm down. I guess practice paid off, huh?
Yeah, I wish I would have practiced getting on pit road a little bit.
Okay.
My pit stop was terrible. I lost over a second to Pedro getting on pit road on the last stop, and that hurt. It was hard to bridge that gap once the tires started to come around, and then I ran it harder and harder and eventually killed it. But me and Tommy had a fun run for second for a while until pretty much both of our right fronts gave up. So we finished 3rd.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. I mean, 2nd best out of the playoff guys, so you're right there behind Pedro in the points, which isn't anything to be ashamed of. But, I noticed how fast you were in the long run. I mean, you, especially during the pit stops there at last cycle, I mean, you came up to Tommy and blew his doors off as you took the lead there for a couple laps. Was that a product, and I ask this because of all the times I've run Charlotte, I've always ran that higher steering ratio. Now, of course, you get the rack and pinion, so it's a lower number here, but was it the higher steering ratio, or was it something you were doing on the track that was helping you out?
It's probably a combination of a lot of things. Just to start the run off, like a bunch of these guys, they go real hard.
Right.
And I mean, that'll pay off if you get a quick caution. But if you don't get that quick caution, then you heat soak your tires, and the hotter you get them, now I'm a firm believer of this. Man, Pedro's discussed it at times. I think once you get your tires to a certain temp, I think they wear faster. And I mean, that sounds like a no shit type deal, but with this game, I think it's like once you get them to a certain temp, they'll go away, and they like I said, and they go away faster, and then it's harder to get them to come back. And once you get them past a certain point, you're not going to get it back.
Point of no return. Yeah.
So I think that's what a bunch of these guys. I think that's what a couple of these guys did. They ran really hard for about 30 laps, and you got to think with this thing, you got to run at least 50.
Yeah.
So you got 20 laps right there to where you just gonna be in trouble.
And we saw that out of the guys. You mentioned it. How much of a benefit is, again, I bring this up because of my own experience, but I feel like it's better to have somebody that just ran the race share this, painting the line through the corners. I mean, you see a lot of cars slide up, get tight, and that kind of thing. I saw you tonight wrapping that blue line the whole entire time. How much was that benefiting you?
Well, it's kind of strange. Like, we ran a race here a couple weeks ago. Same weather, everything. Nighttime, everything was exactly the same. And you could run from the top to the bottom. And the top and the middle were actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the last couple of races we've ran here, it's been roll the bottom. And, like, I've never been a big fan of running the top. I've always ran the bottom. So even if the top would have been good, I would have still done the same thing. But because in my opinion, like when we first came to iRacing, it was one groove everywhere. It was,
right.
It was dead on the bottom. So that's really where my comfort level is putting the car on a line and hitting that line lap after lap after lap. And if you can do that, that again helps save your tires because you're not sliding across the racetrack.
Now, granted, Kevin, let's clear this real quick. When Chad and them came to iRacing, it was black and white. So yeah, it was called first at that point. But nonetheless, all seriousness, great job tonight, finishing third. Send some shout outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, just congrats to Pedro on winning the race, and the Tommy was a good race, good run for most of the guys in the channel, and I thank all the guys, Sim500, Joey, and those guys, and 811 for sponsoring this deal and giving us a place to race. Thank you for broadcasting everything. We'll probably go back and look at this, and I can look and notice that I didn't win again. But I mean, we're kind of close. These races are hard to win.
Yeah.
And just a quick shout out to Tyler Dalton. He I don't know who painted this car originally, but he put he went back and redone some of the Dodge stuff, and put my name and number on it. The car looks pretty good, so that's probably what I'll run for the rest of the season. So
It's a pretty sporty little
other
car.
than that, that's about it.
Does look kind of mean in the front. I do like that Charger nose. So
I've always been a fan of the Charger of Dodge's NASCAR stuff. I'm not a big fan of any other anything else they make.
right.
But their stock car stuff's always looked really good. It's kind of a shame that we don't have that body style or that manufacturer in NASCAR because, dude, their next-gen car would be sexy.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with that one bit. So, well, great job tonight, man. Wesley Donaldson says in chat that he's proud of you for not finishing second.
Yeah, I finished second a lot, so I finished. Hell, we'll cut them break tonight. We'll finish.
Here, you take second, Tommy. So, well, great job tonight, man. Tom, yeah, no problem. Jack Coleman finishing second. As I mentioned, Tommy Ryan finishing in the second position. Kev, we'll let's get Chad down to the comedy room, and he'll get down there and get that party started. And then Tommy Ryan will bring up here to talk about his second place finish.
Yeah, so second place finish tonight for Tommy Ryan. And Tommy, you led 7 laps to take the Legacy Texas race. And we were wondering if we were going to see second verse, same as the first here tonight, but it looked like Pedro had just a little more gas in the tank for you. But second place, that's a good night's effort here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's pretty uneventful for me. Stayed out of trouble. took care of it as best I could. I'm not sure how Pedro was so fast because, I mean, he had a lap better tires, but you know, I didn't fight him off too hard. I just tried to maintain the tire, try to get to the end, and then he really started pushing there, and then I started trying to keep up with him, and it was just like, man, he had a little extra something. I don't know how he does it, but yeah, he kind of walked away there. But it was, you know, it was fun, man. I had a good time.
We talked about on the outset of the race when we were starting things out how technical this track is, how you almost need to be flawless on each lap. Yet when you're in traffic, you have to take what it gives you. And looked like you guys had a lot of fun tonight trying to drive through the field while trying to carry speed each and every lap.
Yeah, it is, man. It's unfortunately the aero is really bad in this car, and if you get in the dirty air, you know, the corner's done. You just gotta take the medicine and try on the next one, because if you try to overpower the air, then you're just going to tear the tires off of it, and you know you're going to pay for it in about 3 or 4 laps. So you just, if you land wrong, or you know he moves up a little bit or down, whatever may be the case, and puts you in dirty air, you're not going to go anywhere. So you just have to really be patient, really disciplined, and you know, let it come to you. If you try to force things, you know, it's unfortunately you can't just muscle this thing around. You can like a truck or a Xfinity car. So it is what it is. But still, I mean, it's challenging, but a little bit of fun. You know, it's not my favorite car to drive, but it's challenging. I'll say that enough.
Yeah, Chad was talking about how, you know, the pit stop situation played a factor in his race. How did your pit stop go, the money pit stop there? Do you think that there was 2.3 seconds somewhere on the track that you could have got back somewhere tonight, or was it just it was going to be a second place effort and that's the way it was going to be?
Yeah, these things are so edgy, man. Coming off the banking, they're like really rigid. So when you get off camber and you know you get one tire off the ground or something because of the banking meeting the apron, it does some really crazy stuff. So I was rather a little bit conservative just to make sure I didn't do anything stupid and spin it out. But I probably gave up. You know, if I really just didn't really care if I got, you know, busted or wrecked it, you know, I probably could have got another second and a half out of it. But it's other than that, man, I felt like I did really good exiting and getting back up. So and then back up to speed, so I didn't lose track position.
Well, it's hard to win, and it's hard to even get a top 5 in this league with the quality of talent sitting behind you. And especially you have all these drivers who are racing for the championship. Top 7, you're the only one that broke through. And we know that you got what it takes to win a championship, but circumstances take you out. But that's got to feel good when you look in the rearview mirror and you have all those championship drivers out there behind you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, racing with these guys every week is fun because it's competitive, and I don't mind getting raced door to door, and obviously they don't either. And there's a time to do that, and there's a time not to do it. But you know, when the time's right, it's a lot of fun, and I don't mind, you know, trading a little paint here and there as long as we both, you know, go away unscathed. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I tell people that if you ever want to drive a race car and you never get the chance to, this is probably the best you'll probably get without actually getting in the real thing. So get your heart rate up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How about it, Tommy? Who helps you get it done here in the Sim500 series?
Yeah, 811, obviously. And before you go digging in the yard, make sure you call the number and go to Northern Tool and buy a shovel. So
Snow shovel?
Yeah, you might need a snow shovel if you're on top of the ground, but if you're gonna bury some cables, you might want to call so you don't die.
I'm speaking
Well, there you go.
I'm speaking from the side of being in Indiana, where I think they're actually expecting like a little bit of snow tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, we do carry the snow shovels and the snow plows and all that stuff. So hook us up.
Yeah, he was talking about running over in the middle of the race. I'm like, hold on a minute. Wait till we get finished. We need to see where Tommy lands.
That was a good reminder. I was like, wait a minute, I gotta go to Northern Tool and get me a shovel.
Oh,
Well, there you go.
I knew I was forgetting
South
something.
Carolina. I'm in upstate South Carolina. It was close to about 80 degrees here today.
Right. I
There you
mean, I
go.
just moved from Georgia, so it's like a snow. I mean, would we have a dusting last year, if that, maybe some flurries? So it's like
Yeah.
now I got to remember I'm up here now, so snow is a vocabulary word after November.
Yep. But overall, great race. Had a lot of fun again. And too bad I'm not in the running for the championship. But it's the pressure's off. I mean, I'm just out here having fun. And usually when you're just not under a whole lot of stress and pressure to perform, you usually just relax and you run better.
Right.
So here we go.
Yeah.
Well, great
Well,
job,
there you
man.
go, Tommy Ryan, second place finish tonight, and go enjoy that, Tommy. That's a pretty good effort at this type of racetrack where you got to show what you got in order to get a top 5 finish, and did an outstanding job here tonight. But we're going to turn and talk with our winner tonight. No surprise, it's Pedro Mojica pulling down the win here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Pedro getting the win. There's not really that big of a party down in the team name room. I just sent Tommy down there, and there's like 3 people. Apparently, everybody's watching the football game probably right now. Yeah, there's one team playing another. Anyways, here we go. As Pedro goes to victory lane here tonight for the 8th time. Not tonight. That'd be a pretty interesting record. Maybe ran a lot of iRacing events today. But 8th time this season. And goes to victory lane, kicking off the second round with a bang here, which is exactly what you were looking at. But I'm pretty sure at lap 50, you were not looking at what happened as you come to pit road and a caution comes out.
Yeah, Chris, it was not. That was definitely that was rough. It sucks when you feel like the race kind of had that feel like it's going to go long, no yellows or anything. So people started pitting, and so I didn't want to give up too much time. So I pitted about, I think 46, 50 or around there, and it's unfortunate, I mean, it happens. I haven't watched the replay, but I've been told about what happened with the replay, and it's just this pit exit is treacherous. So, like, even the best of us can screw up and wreck. So, but yeah, unfortunately, like that, that we lost all our track position. I guess if it seemed like it was unlucky, but if you're gonna pick out a good point out of a bad situation, is I had just taken tires and had a half lap on my tires when the yellow came out. So practically was on even tires with everybody in front of me that had pitted. So the biggest thing was just like picking everybody off one by one and just being patient. That was the biggest thing. It's like, it's real easy to, I've gotten caught up in this before, where it's like you're back there and you're fast and you're capable, and you end up running way too hard because you're trying to get back to where you were at, and you burn your tires up, and then you don't get back to where you're at before. So that was the biggest thing, was just being patient, just managing the tires, letting these guys come back to me. And then, honestly, just we put ourselves in a position there at the end. We had caught up to the front right as the pit cycle started there for the last part of the race, last stint of the race. So that gave us a chance, and I felt pretty good for, having about a lap older tires than the guys in front of me and being able to keep up and get close to the front. Felt pretty good about my chances when we got out. And, I was just back, once we got out, it was just, again, manage tires, because it felt like Texas all over again, where Macklin was 8.5 seconds ahead or 9 seconds ahead, and I had 10 lap better tires, and it was like that whole situation again. But learning from that, it's just, again, just run your race, manage your tires, he'll come back to you right at the end. So we were able to do that, get the track position on Tommy and Chad, and pull in the victory lane tonight.
Did you happen to look in the mirror there when you took the lead and said, there's Tommy again?
A little bit. Yeah, I figured, Tommy let me go, and I told him, I was like, well, I guess I'll see you in a little bit. So, because he's so good at saving tires. I know people say I'm pretty good at it, but Tommy's just as good, if not better, at times. So he keeps you on your toes. Him and Chad, Chad had a lot better tires, and he was doing really well saving his stuff as well. So it just it was a little nerve-wracking, kind of keeping one eye on the relative just to kind of see where they were at, but then also trying to just keep the right front cool until I needed to abuse it.
Well, you did your part tonight, man. Going to victory lane, you get a 5-point lead over Chad there, going to next week's race at the Phoenix Raceway. So obviously that could be a little bit of a wild card. Probably a benefit of not having that be the last race of the season after what I remember happening last year with Daniel and stuff in that race. So obviously 4 more races to go get a couple more wins and try to survive and get this championship, but I know it's not going to be an easy one. So obviously all the best there in those 4 weeks. I'm sure we'll be talking more, and you got round 1. So you got that one. Give some shout outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate you and Kevin, Captain Esports, for putting on the broadcast. Appreciate NC811 for sponsoring this series and the league. Appreciate everything they do. All admins at Sim500, appreciate everything they do. Glenn Campbell and Transservice Logistics, appreciate them for jumping on board this year and letting me represent. So appreciate him, and Max Graphics for painting the car. All the guys on Team Name, man, like I said, like, we all have a good time racing. We're all real competitive too, though, so it's tough, man. That's if anybody's going to be my toughest competition, is those guys in that room. So it'll be fun all the way to the end, I'm sure. And then, yeah, I appreciate the family for letting me come down and hang out for a couple hours and have a little fun.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys.
You too, buddy. Great win there for Pedro Mojica, win number 8 here on the season as he begins his quest to sweep the Cup and Grand National Series championships here starting tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So congratulations to him. And yeah, 1 round down. Next week we go to Phoenix Raceway, that 1 mile diamond in the desert, as they like to say. Going to be another fun one. Track position's going to mean everything. And going to see at least 1 shift, if not 2 shifts, in that race. So I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one coming next week, Kev.
Yeah, I just think about, to win 1 race is special. To win 2, 3 races in a season, unbelievable. To win 8 races, and with so many more to go and other opportunities, you're in Falkingham territory, and what a season Pedro has put together. And no matter what happens from here on out, he has served notice that he's in the elite driver status here for Sim500. He has definitely written his mark on this season's run for the NC811 Cup. Incredible run for the 58.
Just to add on to that statement right there, obviously I got lucky enough to win a super speedway race on a Friday night. That was just a fun series a couple months ago. And just to say, hey, I won a Sim500 race, no matter how it was done, is cool, And you got these guys going out here and doing it every week, multiple times a week. And knowing that I would show up to a race like tonight at Charlotte, which is arguably my best track, and I would probably have finished somewhere down near Montesi or Friary, 17th or 18th or something like that. These guys got the speed, and it takes a lot of work. It takes strategy. It takes putting yourself in the right spot each and every week, and a lot of discipline. And that's why I have the pleasure of saying that I get to broadcast some of the best leagues in iRacing every week. And it's so cool. I feel like I have the best ones every week. So it's an honor to be a part of them, and can't wait to get back to Phoenix and have my favorite color commentator out of all my color commentators with me every week too.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, yeah. Let's not tell him he's my only one. Anyways,
Thank you.
No problem, buddy. Well, hey, yep, we'll see you next week at Phoenix.
Looking forward to it.
All right, buddy.
Wouldn't miss it.
No, not at all. We're getting down to the old nitty gritty here as we go racing at the Phoenix Raceway next Monday night. Feels like tomorrow night, the way everything goes. So, everybody enjoy your Halloween. Obviously, I know the weather's tricky in a bunch of spots right now, so be safe if you're going trick or treating with the kiddos. and that kind of thing. And yeah, we'll see you back here next Monday night from Phoenix as we start November already.
Wow.
2024, here we come. This isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.